Starcraft client. We're going at it here. Thanks for joining us in the 2011 MLG Pro Circuit in Columbus. It is kind of a circus here.
I would love it. The Pro Circus, the high wire actor, FXOSheth. Are there any FXOSheth fans in the audience this evening?
Oh, yeah.
FXOSheth has a wonderful stream, justin.tv/FXOSheth, where he regularly shows his own personal ladder games live. People absolutely love tuning in, and he does it nearly daily. And of course, in the top right, if any of you have ever bought a GSL ticket, you know this name. You got any MMA fans out there?
I got to clap for both those guys. And you know what? You brought up a phenomenal point yesterday, Dave, that I want to stress in case anyone didn't hear it. We talked a lot about how many of these players are so good at being able to practice for one specific matchup. It's like, okay, I have to play this player. He's a Protoss. I'm going to practice. I'm going to study. But MMA came on and got his breakthrough in the Korean Starcraft leagues by basically eliminating awesome player after awesome player, and it was like the guy will just bust down any obstacle that is before him. And I do believe that in a tournament like MLG, that is going to just be a huge skill that will be very useful to have.
Absolutely. I mean, you need to have that. I would say, actually, of all players, of all the Korean players who came out, MMA is the most attuned to this tightly packed 3-day event, because in the team leagues, it's a similar structure. You get thrown into the booth. You don't know who your next opponent is going to be. It's whoever the opposing team decides is best to kill you. So we've seen MMA play tournaments where he's had to be against a Terran player, and then a Protoss, and then another Terran, and then a Zerg, constantly switching matchups. Same kind of style of tournament play that we see here today, now being thrown against the top Zerg player, Sheth, who's thrown down a hatch at 15, is now going to throw down a spawning pool. And look at this, we see a fast tech lab. I'd be delighted to see a Reaper pop out for MMA, as we haven't seen a lot of Reaper plays against Zerg lately.
No, we haven't. The other thing that's going to be very, very telling about this particular matchup, and we're going to see how it is going to take shape in form day 9, is that Sheth is the baneless Terran. Sometimes he will just choose to create these armies that don't have a high baneling concentration. I said Terran and I meant Zerg, but versus the Terran. And, you know, I mean, against a player like MMA, I wonder if that is going to change at all.
I mean, I definitely think that Sheth's Zergling Roach Infestor style is going to be best suited to a map like this, a map like Shattered Temple, where there's a lot of wide open space for good tactical maneuvers. And look at this, we're seeing a second Reaper pop out. Oh my god, the mythic Reaper Bunker Rush. I cannot wait. We rarely ever see Reaper pressure be prominent in this matchup anymore, but it looks like we're going to have a little special treat MMA style.
Oh, and the drone is going to meet up. He's going to see that Reaper coming out right away. Drone will manage to get away, but the Reaper will catch up to it thanks to its ability to jump up those cliffs. Gets on the creep, takes out one Zergling. Second Zergling going to go down. The second pair is out. He's immediately going to have to create some more Zerglings to deal with this.
I cannot believe that drone managed to stay alive. He's actually just telling the story to his buddy. Can you believe it? Got him out by the skin of my teeth, but the attack is not over yet. We are now seeing Queen pop out. That will be more helpful for dealing with those Reapers, but if those Reapers pop into the main, that could be a little bit of trouble for the Zerg hero FXOSheth. And in the meantime, we see MMA already starting Combat Shield, a very interesting transition, and a super fast Roach Warren. We've seen Sheth do this every single time in this matchup.
Now, how is Sheth going to deal with this? You've got this little chasm back here that just welcomes Reapers right into your opponent's base. He is going to be on the creep, and he'll have to use his Queens to defend this, but he should be able to snipe off some drones. There he's just going to snipe one off and go ahead and bring it back, trying to minimize the damage that the Queen will do. This time he's going to go all the way around the back, make it much more difficult for that Queen to get access to these Reapers, and they could take out quite a few. Instead, he's just going to kite that Queen, and if he takes it down, not only is that going to be so bad here, but we have things coming out.
Oh, and it looks like Sheth's going to try to go for the surround. Can he get it? It looks like the Queen is at 7 hit points, and Sheth keeps the Queen alive. and 8 roaches in production. Sheth now pulling all of the guys out of gas. What is MMA doing at home? He's building Marauders, he's building Marines. He will not have Stim, he will not have Concussive Shell. Command Center trying to go down. But without that many units, MMA could lose to a potential roach bust, or at the very least, take quite a bit of damage.
And he does have links going out now. Going to regain control of this tower, chase away that SCV so that he will not see it coming. And at the front, we do have a bunker being constructed. The orbital command is going down, and there's only one Rax with Tech Lab, so we won't have as many Marauders here, but several Marines will be in production. Here come those roaches.
Oh, MMA has to be careful not to get caught off guard, and it looks like he does. He's not looking. He loses 2 of those Marines. Those units are the same speed. He needs to make sure he doesn't lose that Marauder. The bunker is starting to load up units. He's going to load that Marauder and get that range 7 advantage to try to repel those roaches as best as he can. And Sheth looks like he might try to go for a press. No, he's actually going to pull back. But MMA, I like that he did not overreact in the slightest.
Yeah, in fact, Sheth decided, okay, cool, I did the damage. I got a couple Marines. I chased him back to his base, and I'm going to go ahead and drone up now. He's just going to get that going. He has put his guys back on the gas. Actually, he's just got 2 on there right now, as he's going to continue a more economic production now as he gets his overlords and continues to just drone up like crazy. Over on MMA's side, he is going to be getting Stim. It's about 60% done right now, and that starport is on the way.
Very, very interesting play from MMA, getting these medevacs so quickly. Actually looks much more like a Terran vs. Protoss style than a Terran vs. Zerg style. Traditionally, you see Terran players opt for more tanks early on, trying to do very muscular, aggressive pushes, but MMA is going to get the mobility units, the faster Marines, the faster Marauders with those medevacs, and Sheth taking a third, but this is a very vulnerable third base. No way to join that together with Creep. Those medevacs are going to be able to pick that off easily.
Yeah, they will, and it is kind of a tough decision to have to make there, but with the rocks being up as well, some players just say, well, when you want to take that quick third, you kind of have to go with what is available. I'm surprised Sheth isn't actually making an attempt to go ahead and take out those rocks, considering these units are idle, but, you know, hiding that third, it is a little bit tougher for his opponent to get to without him noticing. However, there is the double medevac dropship setting up and getting ready, going out through the east side of the map. There is an overlord here just above those rocks, and he is going to be seen. Tries to veer out of the way. I'm sure he didn't see that. He's going to continue on his route down to Sheth's base.
Sheth has not researched Zergling speed, one of the most essential upgrades in this matchup that could cost him very dearly right here, as this huge group of medevacs is now advancing forward. It looks like the Baneling Nest is almost done. Sheth has not prepared for it. He actually missed the drop. Now it's getting unloaded into his main. The Zerglings, the Roaches, are heading back, and only just now starting Zergling speed. All the drones taking a lot of damage. MMA just ripping through here. Sees that that spawning pool is researching something. Going to begin to stream forward. He stims. He definitely wants to kill it off. Sheth cancels at the last second, and with this Roach Ling count, it looks like, oh no, no! Zergling speed means that Sheth is going to lose all those Lings. MMA in a great position.
Yeah, the Roaches are the only things left. He tries to bring his drones back in, and this drop is being incredibly effective from MMA. You know, Sheth did have vision of it with that Overlord. The placement was good, but unfortunately, MMA was still able to slip that through, and now this main is completely vulnerable. More units coming out, but they are going to fall quickly, and now it's almost free pickings here for MMA as he can choose what he wants to go. A lot of Roaches come out. Those units will immediately be picked up, and they will evacuate out with their safety.
We're seeing Sheth slowly start to recover, but I mean, that push from MMA, brilliantly timed and very unusual. Sheth clearly was not prepared in the slightest for that sort of timing play. No pool getting rebuilt for Sheth. He's trying to recoup his drone count. We have 11 drones in production. The southern pool is, southern expansion is up and running well, and at this point, you're committed to making just roaches. And getting Baneling speed, but how many Zerglings does he have? He only has 4 Zerglings, so you can get speed for all 4 of them if he morphs them into Banelings. But now, at this point in time, you're just so limited as Sheth.
And what's coming behind this is probably what's the most scary. He needs those Banelings. He needs those Zerglings right now because of very high concentration of Marines here from MMA. And he's going to scan up to the front. He might be able to march right in here and do some critical damage. Roaches are going to move forward. And is he going to? Yes, he's going to stim up right there on the end. Sees the Macrash going down. The Roaches are going to move forward. He'll spread out just a little bit. Let these siege takes do their damage.
And there's
a quick
good game. Sheth clearly having a little bit of performance issues on the stage, things like those medevacs flying by the Overlord and just missing them completely, not preparing, forgetting the Zergling speed. Sheth doing a little bit of an unusual fast roach play that didn't really pay off. We've seen it kind of struggle in these games, but it can all turn out okay as long as you're playing very, very crisply and your fundamentals don't falter. But Sheth really needs to just lock down on that fundamental gameplay if he wants to compete with MMA.
Yeah, and as far as MMA, I mean, there's a great example there of how one can play Terran really phenomenally on that map. Starting off with the double Reaper, he didn't even get that Queen at the beginning. Looked like a large victory for Sheth, but it was what was always coming behind it. It's sort of like, I'm going to punch you, and yeah, that hurt, but hey, now here's a kick to the face that comes right after that. And then I'm going to spinning back fist you after that. And it's just like this combo that MMA throws at him continuously. You saw the fact after the medevac drop did all of its damage. Then, of course, we just saw the main force move in and finish the game.
I mean, MMA, I think, is really starting to showcase some different variety, and this always tends to happen in matchups as they get their evolutions, where players are dabbling in all different kinds of styles, and then all of a sudden, one sort of spills out as being very strong, and players all gravitate towards that until suddenly one player begins to break out of that shell, and then there becomes these new different mixes. That's exactly what happened in Terran vs. Terran. It was all Marine tank, and now we're seeing Hellion tank really begin to pop out. So with MMA, with that very, very fast medevac play, I think a lot of Terran players are going to start to realize, wow, all my Zerg opponents are delaying layer, delaying the Spire, so maybe I can begin doing these aggressive drops.
And they worked out pretty well in that particular instance. MLG Shattered Temple is going to be the map selection from Sheth that will be picked, and we're going to be hopping right into our next game in just a moment.